As we discussed in the previous video, the most viable option against the meaninglessness of life is to revolt, and every revolt needs at least 3 elements: an objective, a strategy, and logistics. Let's start with the objective. What can be the aim of a revolt that is certain to fail? A revolt where the enemy is intangible, unbeatable, and who, quite frankly, does not care. Given this certainty of a crushing fate, the aim of this revolt can only be the revolt itself. I choose to not go out without a fight. Out of spite to the life that condemned me to this fate, I choose to revolt. Not by killing myself, but by ensuring that every action I take it to maintain the revolt. It may be thought that suicide follows revolt, but wrongly. Revolt gives value to life. Now that we have defined our objective, we need a strategy. The good news is that life didn't establish any rules for the game. We just have to push a boulder up a mountain. Any action we take can be an action of revolt, as long as it is taken consciously with the revolt in mind. So, the act of waking up in the morning, going to our meaningless work, or even enjoying a slice of pizza can be acts of revolt. However, as humans, we have a tendency to forget, to look for distractions and to let life overwhelm us. The way I see it is that when we were children, we were in a blissful state of hopefulness. Our dreams were limitless. We imagined a beautiful life ahead. Without worries, we enjoyed the little things we got to do. Then, suddenly, either on our late teens or early adulthood, our worries grew bigger. We realized that life might not be as simple as we thought. We faced our first setbacks. We asked ourselves the important questions. What is the point of this? Where do we want to go? Does life have meaning? Without clear answers to these important questions, we got into a state of depression. Faced with this recurring dreadful feeling, we learned to deal with it, either through spiritual means, medication, or wishful thinking. Either way, we got back on our state of hopefulness. We told ourselves that our situation is just a bad dream. The real us, the one that has everything figured out, has not come out yet, but he will, soon. Confident in our future self, we learned to be satisfied with what we have for now, waiting for the real us that will come out eventually. While this state of satisfaction does not prevent the recurring visits from existential dread or depression, it dumbs down the pain. We learn to go in autopilot mode. We no longer think, until existential dread hits us again, paying us a visit from time to time without fail. But, as we established before, once the feeling of absurdity strikes us down, we have 2 choices. Go back to the state of hopefulness and wishful thinking, knowing full well that it will not solve the problem, or we go into a state of revolt. And so, by keeping track of our state, we can ensure that the revolt lives on. In order to do so, we need 2 main things. First, constant reminders of our state of revolt. Second, a global strategy that gives cohesion to our actions. In order for the revolt to live on, we need a source of supplies. And what better source than existential dread itself? And so, I have developed a completely free and open source app that has 3 main objectives. First, reminding me of existential dread as a source of motivation and discipline on a daily basis. Second, keeping track of my state of revolt. Third, giving an overview of the global strategy. This app has allowed me to keep track of my daily activities and get an automatic rating of my day. For example, a day where I smoke a lot and do not go to the gym is automatically rated as a bad day. To me, this rating represents the face of the enemy. Life is happy when I don't revolt, and it gets gradually angry as I perform more and more actions for the revolt. And so, this allows me to get a better understanding of my life, such as how was my overall performance for this month, or what day of the week do I perform most, or even track the values of my activities throughout a certain period. The idea here is to use this app as a judge of my day and keep myself accountable. It has the option to display an age timer. This brings a feeling of existential dread that I use to discipline myself. Of course, this is not bulletproof. I have my fair share of days without a revolt, as can be seen in this graph describing my revolt for the past year. Nevertheless, being able to follow the state of my revolt gives me the ability to strategize and understand the patterns of my life. But we can push this even further. I find it easier to maintain the revolt when there is a structure in place that gives cohesion to my small and big actions, an end goal that I strive to achieve. And so, I choose to see that, in my life, I am not pushing a boulder, I am pushing many, each with its own mountain, and on top of every mountain there is a God, and my aim is to take that boulder up its mountain and crush its respective God. For instance, the simplest one is the Hermes mountain. Hermes was the Greek god of boundaries and patron of travelers. This mountain represents all what I want to do regarding travel and transportation. Killing this god means that I have managed to travel around Europe in my own van. But before I can reach this step, I need to fulfill many other steps, each named after a Greek deity or character. Before you say anything, I know, it is cheesy as fuck, but hey, it keeps the boulder rolling. For instance, this has allowed me to reach Pegasus 3, which is managing to travel around Europe by bike. There are many mountains that deal with small and big issues. I might discuss them in another video. In the meantime, in the description box, you will find the link to a video that describes the meager potential of this app, along with a link to it and its source code. In the next videos, I will be discussing in detail the various aspects of weaponizing existential dread. Till then, I am counting on you to keep the revolt going. Do not cheat. Be superior to your fate. Be stronger than your rock.